make the best of it.
I already told Ken to forget it.
What's that?
I already told Ken Abrams to forget it.
Anybody called their representatives? I talked again last night. The supervisors there, they would need to take your calls.
Really?
We'll talk about it.
Next meeting?
Talk to Ted on Saturday.
I don't want to talk about it very much at the Buffalo either.
So it cost us $430,000.
Ish.
The backfill.
Yeah.
So does the county taxpayers save $430,000 on their tax cut?
Is that a rhetorical question?
Sounds like.
Well, they're making it sound like they're giving us, so I assume they're paying for it with their tax cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it quite works that way.
It's all game. Of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Minutes in the agenda.
Yeah, make a motion to approve the minutes of the agenda.
I'll second the motion.
Motion by Bill, second by Terry to approve the minutes in the agenda. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Kelsey.
Yes, so as you might know, when Adam served as Winnebago County Attorney, he also served as the Assistant Worth County Attorney. That was only handling simple misdemeanors, so it's just magistrate court is all it is. My understanding is it was about a couple hours every other Thursday afternoon, a lot of times just one Thursday a month, just depending on the schedule. Worth County has offered that to me to take that position. I would like to take it. I don't think it's going to take really any time out of my work here in Winnebago, aside from, of course, those Thursday afternoons I'd be gone, but I'd make up for that work. With magistrate court, I know that frontwards and backwards because I've been doing it for 4 years, so I don't think it's going to take any additional time to learn it or anything like that. If it were to be something that would come to interfere with any of my work here, it's something I would drop, but I would just like the board's permission to take that employment.
And he got paid for that?
Correct.
I'm assuming that it's okay. It's a full-time.
Correct. As long as I have your permission. I couldn't do it without your permission, but
We
with your
gave him
permission.
permission before, so.
Well, that's a good bargaining chip when it comes to raises. All right. Well, I guess we can't do anything about it today, but okay.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you.
Good day.
Congratulations, by the way. Scott.
Hello.
Hi, Scott, we're ready for you.
Okay, I'll light up.
So you. Same here.
How's the coyote business been?
Kind of slower.
Is that right? Are you getting weeded out or just?
Well, I'll say for lack of words, but like Eric Knudsen and Bunkuski, they trap 97 around our area.
Is that right?
Well, if you take some of the quote maybe double ones out of the area. Then we're running dogs for the smarter ones. Like the other day at Grant Wildlife, it took us 4 hours to get one to come out of there. You know, dogs, yeah, and I'm sure, I know there's several in there, but the dogs are just barking away in there, beat the band, chasing them around. And when you sit there that long, it's like, you know, then they're getting shot at it coming out someplace or another.
Yeah.
So, takes time, you know, you get 2, 3 a day, about it. Where last year
They're
was
trapping that many? Geese, or just between the two of them?
2 of them. It was 3 to 5 last year, 2, 3 maybe.
Morning, Scott.
Morning. A couple things that I wanted to update you on. Stuff in the budget program. Just wanted to touch on our budget status. So as of the end of February, so we're 8 out of the 12 months through the year, our secondary road fund balance, 1.17 million. Our budget, secondary road fund, and when you look at that, we have 55% of our budget used, and of course we're 67% of the way through the year. So that number is looking good. And if you look at some of the numbers for like snowplow removal, labor item, that number is looking strong as well. So there's a few things in there that are promising, and I would say as we get here into the last months of the year, our budget's going to be looking strong.
You'll just have to borrow the general fund at 0%.
It may be the case. We have also executed a gravel contract for the next 2 fiscal years worth of budgeted funds. So if you don't know, every 3 or 4 years we have right materials, crushed gravel at the pit by 3 fingers, and we use that gravel, you know, throughout the summer and fall of each year until it's gone, and then we crush another pile. So that cost is periodic and not in every budget. We have $300,000 in this proposed budget, and then we'll have the balance. Okay, everything else that I have is on the agenda.
Okay. Move on then.
I have somebody wanting a better road to the area. The east entrance to Pilot Knob, there's that housing division there. And I guess their road to get from the highway to there is pretty deplorable. Which would be, I suppose, 210th Avenue.
The north-south road.
I don't know if she was talking about, I know she mentioned in the winter, it takes forever to get snow plowing, either on 340th down the county line or out to the highway. She's had issues. It takes a long time to get a plow there. There's quite a few houses up there, is what she was saying.
Yeah. Do you know if she's lived there a while or if she's a new resident?
She has. She's 2 years old. As far as I know, she has.
Well,
The Green Acres one, or is that further?
No, it's the one just before the entrance. You go to the right and down the hill, kind of that really narrow road there.
so she's referring to the public roads, though.
Yeah.
East and west, and so as you know, those 2 roads are gravel, and so that means in the winter, snow plowing could take the entire day, and in the summer specifically, you know, now when things are melting but there's frost on the ground, it's going to be tough. make a note to take a look at it, but I expect the conditions are what, normal compared to the rest of the county, yeah.
Well, I guess the comment that was made by the person standing next to her was, the road going to Sunnyside is in better shape than her. After it got rebuilt.
It ought to be. It carries quite a few trucks every day, so.
I told her I'd pass it along, but she couldn't make it to a meeting, so.
Okay. Well, we can certainly take a look at it and make sure there's nothing unusual going on out there.
And are we in charge of this county line road there, or is that us back and forth?
I believe that one is ours. I think as a rule of thumb, I would say on the east side of Forest City, they're ours. On the west side, they are mostly Hancock's.
Same for the whole county line going north, like Apple Avenue up.
And that one, I believe we have the north part. And they have the south. And have to double check to make sure that's true, but I think that's right. We have agreements with each of the counties around us to dictate those.
Okay, good. Sign replacement program.
So for you today, for review, I have for you a standard agreement from the Iowa Department of Transportation for a sign replacement program for cities and counties. This is something they offer to all the cities and counties to help road sign system. They will reimburse up to $10,000 per county for road signs. Based on the sign inspection that we had done recently, I think we're probably more in the range of 5,000 or less. So in any case, we should be covered here with all of our eligible replacement signs. And by eligible, I mean stop sign, stop ahead, anything that is yellow or warning signs are all yellow, so most of those would be covered. Stop signs, anything regulatory. Doesn't cover things like street name signs or, county road markers, R34 markers, that kind of thing. But for the most part, it will cover the majority of the signs. When this resolution is passed, I will submit this along with the list of signs to the DOT. They will get back to us hopefully shortly with approval, and we'll get signs ordered and get them up this summer or fall. So it's a good program. Pretty straightforward. So I'll put this in front of you here.
Are these state funds, or are they federal funds passing through the state?
I expect the state funds, they don't come with very many requirements, which is a good indication that they're state funds.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve the secondary road sign replacement program agreement with DOT.
I'll second it.
Motion by Terry, seconded by Bill to approve the sign replacement program with the Iowa DOT. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Road budget. Your construction budget.
So I haven't given this to you before. This is a map of this year's, the bridge projects included in this year's budget. Yeah, I sent you a map by email that was the whole 5-year program. That one is kind of daunting to look at because all the projects are overlapping and things like that. So here's just the first year, this summer's projects. So that should give you a better feel for relaying that information to anybody interested. But, 6 bridge replacements projects this year, so that's a strong number, I think. 2 of them are federal aid, 4 of them are local forces doing the work, and there's also 1 more on there, which is just a pipe replacement. Not a bridge, but still a notable project. So this secondary road budget that I'll have you sign if approved here is numbers matching our local budget that we recently approved. The additional thing it does include is the 5-year secondary road construction program, and this program pretty much includes bridge replacement projects in the order that is recommended by our consultant, who rates the bridges, and some paving projects in the future that are getting to be about 20 years old. That would include E16 from Scarville west to the Thompson Corner. It would include some of the roads around Buffalo Center, those short segments. The road from Leland to the Winnebago Church, and then R50, which is from Rembrandt east of the corner and then south, that 3-mile segment there. So here in a couple of years, we'll have a big paving project, but till then, we are pretty quiet in terms of paving construction.
They're all gonna be done that year, in 2 years.
That's our goal at this point.
One budget or two? Is it all federal or the state aid money then, or?
We will, so the A16 project will be part swap, part FM, and the others will be FM local combinations. And we'll have to see in a couple of years how that shakes out in the budget, whether it'll be over 1 year or 2 years. But the goal would be to try to tie them together so we get one bidder on all the projects and take some economy of scale into there and try to get better bids.
What does BROS stand for? Dash, Middle County 95.
BROS, I don't know if it really stands for anything, but it indicates the Highway Bridge Program funding, so federal aid. So anything that's a BROS project is a project which we're receiving at least partial funding from the state, which is a transfer of federal aid dollars. Which of course that will be switching to BROS swap. And so each of those project numbers from there forward will be BROS swap dash CO 95, et cetera, et cetera. What other questions can I answer?
Bill? Nope. Make a motion to approve
I'll make a motion to approve the secondary road budget and 5-year construction program.
I'll second the motion.
Motion by Bill, second by Terry to approve the secondary road budget, 5-year construction program. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I should have marked the signature spots on here and I didn't, so give me a minute to.
Okay, no problem. I did it, but he didn't return my call. He's on vacation, so he's coming back.
There are the two budgets. These are identical to each other. One's for Carla, one's for me to take. They take both of your signatures.
Could you tell Chris we're ready for her? Thank you.
That's the same for these two.
Got anything for us?
No, I just got an update from DD 3937. He wants to extend his completion date to May 1st. So ground is still frozen. He'd like to wait a little bit for the cleanup.
What was the date on it, April?
That's
1st?
with Hancock County.
Yeah, I know, but what was the completion date on that?
I think it was April. So, he just
Have you
wants
talked
to-
with them, Hancock?
No, I just had an email
Oh.
and I replied to Kent Rhodey because he thought it should be fine, so I didn't know I would.
We'll still have to get together two boards to extend it with them.
He did not say anything about that,
I would assume.
so, yeah. I
We can
can
do
check
that by
with Ann.
phone, though, so.
And then reminder for you tomorrow that we're gonna meet in Thompson.
Yep.
Yep, 10 o'clock. Okay.
You wanna call their board, or should I, or,
I can talk to Ann
okay,
and we can set it up for next week.
very good. Anything else? All right,
Contractor.
Corey Jurgens.
May I interject as long as Chris is here?
yes,
I was just wondering what's happening with the drainage on our property that I was guaranteed would happen before winter last year.
Right.
And
Yep. Rogness still is, it got too late for him in the fall, so now he has to wait for the spring. So,
And it will happen this year?
according to him,
Because it was all marked out and
yep.
everything last year.
It just got too late for him with his other projects, so it delayed yours. So he guaranteed me, and that's all I can do is what he tells me.
they'll
So
get it done.
I talked to Jeremy's dad, and so now both father and son know too that it has to get done.
Well, I mean, I have a literal river running through my property.
Really?
It's been long enough. It needs to stop.
So that's what he tells me.
Okay. We'll move on. We need a trip to White House. Looking through it, we don't even have an agenda, and then I'm wondering what public purpose it serves to go to this thing.
It's supposed to be coming out this week. They said they'd be sending details this week.
Okay. I personally think that's quite a bit of money to spend for our county to send someone to it, so I don't know how you feel. You do.
Well, I think there's a number of issues we can address out there while I'm there. I'm planning on going to the federal offices too to talk to at least staffers. I saw the email on Dr. Keller not being able to see Senator Grassley, but there are other out there that we can talk to
About what?
about the ACA and how things are not being properly funded, or in a timely manner and things like that. We've got, I think, farmers around here have a concern over the tariffs, how it's going to affect them. So I was told that the cabinet members will probably be there so we can talk to transportation. And we can talk to the number of things, for federal funding.
That's not a county issue, though. That's an individual issue. And I would think, as far as farmers are concerned, the Farm Bureau should take care of that. I just think it's a good chunk of change to be spending and going out there for. I don't know the return you're gonna get on it. What do you think, Bill?
Well, there's probably some interesting things to discuss out there as far as it goes. I mean, when I first got the invitation, and it'll be all right. But to me, my first thought was, is I really couldn't afford to plane ticket to the motel, so I wasn't thinking about the county paying for it. So.
I haven't turned anything in, so.
Well, do you expect to?
I'll decide when I get back. I mean, if I feel like I did some good, I probably might submit part of it. But
Well, I think that should be discussed and approved before.
I guess I won't ask for reimbursement then. I feel that strongly about, helping this county that I will go out there and do it myself. I've already paid for it, so.
Bill, your thoughts?
Sometimes when you rub elbows with the right people, things can get done, but then lots of times it seems like when you rub elbows out there, there's not much that gets rubbed back your way. So I guess I question what can really be done, but then you don't know what can really be done until you go out there. So it's like,
I'm one of those people that if you're not sitting at the table, you really don't know truly what is being said. You might get some feedback from other people.
Well, as far as the ACA and the tariffs, you're gonna, as a member of this board, that, to me, that is no fault. Maybe as an individual, to go out there and, I don't think the ACA affects us as a county or the tariff, as a whole. You're going out to represent the farmers, you said, for the tariffs. So that's just my opinion. That's, I guess I'll leave it up to you and Bill. Put the pressure on you.
Well, I don't think you're going to stop me from going.
That's,
well, you're nobody's question your right to go, which is whether the county should reimburse for everything. So, what do the taxpayers think? Scott, you're the farm bureau. You think there's any good to be done on that trip? Or?
It's always good to have a seat at the table. I mean, if you're sitting at home complaining about it, you're not getting anywhere. Got to let your voice be heard somewhere along the line. I'm not completely familiar about the cost in this, I guess, but
it's going to be, if I was to turn in my bill for the room and the flight, it's going to be about $625 altogether.
Okay. I was out there last year on a legislative trip with the Farm Bureau, and yeah, we got some access to some places that I think is available to everybody else, but I wouldn't have done it personally myself, and I thought it was very worthwhile. That was me. So.
what do you mean it was worthwhile?
We got to speak directly with Grassley and Ernst and King, stated our piece, I guess, what we thought should happen. Yeah, everything we asked for didn't happen, didn't expect it to, but they knew where we stood. So.
All right. Consider 2019 fiscal budget resolutions. Is it too late to, yeah, it probably is too late to just review it, but we're gonna have to put that forward.
I didn't put all of it in to begin with, so it should be okay.
Never.
So did we make a decision on the White House thing? Because I don't have a,
There's nothing actionable right now.
okay.
It's going.
No, we,
Did you just put that in here?
I,
Maybe we got goals, we didn't
yeah,
vote on
we
it.
need to.
All right,
Is this for me?
I'll make a motion to approve the 2019 fiscal year budget resolution.
I'll second it.
Motion by Terry, second by Bill, to approve the 2019 fiscal year budget and budget resolutions. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
This is supposed to be written.
All right, take a motion to open the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to,
Transfer.
we can do that after that.
It's not here, you got that.
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing for One Big E LLC for Master Matrix and Grant Section 8, Winnebago County.
I'll second the motion.
Motion by Bill, second by Terry, to open the public hearing for One Big E LLC. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This is where anybody can talk about it who wants to.
I guess I'd like to ask what adjustments were done on this.
As far as I can see, the only adjustment was as you moved it, was it 30 feet further back from,
The only adjustment was the well was moved back 5 foot to make it easily apparent that it was 25 foot from the road. Evidently, there was some misunderstanding regarding the angle that the distance that the well was when figuring the distance from the barn. On the previous one, it was 110 foot using the angle, and there was it was interpreted here as 110 foot or 112, I forget the exact, and 18. So there was a misunderstanding that the well was only 18 foot from the road instead of 25 as it was, but moved it back 5 foot just to make sure that that was clear. Also put in, again, additional clarification regarding the 190 by 130 foot turnaround area that was there. There was question whether or not, or where that turnaround was. Put it on the map a little bit clearer for people to understand and see where that is, that there are multiple 120 foot turnarounds on that site. Those are the only changes.
You have any concern about the golf course out there?
Given the fact that it's lying north of there and the amount of north wind that we have, I guess I respect that it's there, but I don't know how much of an effect it'll have, if any. The home family farm is situated within a half mile of another one, or right around a half mile of another confined animal feeding operation, and probably despite what my grandparents have said over the years and complaining about it, I think we only smell that 2 or 3 times a year within a half mile. So given that history, I'm not concerned that it's...
Then why did you complain to a guy uptown that was gonna put a hog building to the north of you guys? Was considering it.
I'm unaware of that. And I guess I ask that to use the phrase, sins of my father don't be passed down to me, or grandfather.
Now that's your dad.
Okay, regardless.
well, I do enjoy going out there golfing, and there have been many times where I've been on the number 4, number 8 tee backs, which both go south, thinking that the wind was at my back. So it happens more than one might think. But, the golf course could have quite a few people on it. The odds of a north wind in the summer are lower, but even more so is the people that, there's some of them in the area there that have lived there for the better part of 70 years. One's to the north of it where there's a lot of south winds. Another one is to the west, which there's quite a few west winds that they live there all their lives, and just because somebody else owns a piece of ground they can put, I don't have anything against hog facilities, I just don't like if they didn't stink, there wouldn't be a problem. I mean, I'm all for raising hogs, it's good economic development, if there's just a way to keep it from being a nuisance to the people that live there, that have lived there, some of them all their lives. And then the golf course, if you got unlucky on the right day, you could have a couple hundred people out there. That's usually when there's class reunions and stuff out there, but it would be, all I know is I don't want to be on the tee box with my buddy spilling big manure and then have them say, yeah, our county supervisor, he was all for this, or something like that. I don't have a problem, and like I told you over the phone, had you guys built this next to where your dad is going to be moving to on the land you own there, if you built it on the land that's close to your home place there, you're willing to smell it yourselves, it might garner a little more sympathy. But I'm not against them. I mean, manure's a great product. You're doing it for the manure, I would guess.
And a way for me to come back home.
Yeah.
And the master matrix, as much as people may curse it, also prohibit it from placing in certain areas where, in other people's eyes, it would be more preferential.
Mm-hmm. And
Did that prohibit you from placing it on your parents?
He does not own that. The only ground that I have in that area that he owns, if we're going to put it on his burden, is the ground that I put it on.
Yeah, but you could buy it from the Corp.
Don't you guys own the property on the south side of where Kirk Winter's place is?
Ron does not.
Ron does not? Who owns that?
I think we're getting into an irrelevant conversation.
Well, I'm saying
No,
there are other
yeah,
places to put it.
yeah.
And
At this time, there wasn't.
it's, no matter where you put it, you're probably gonna make somebody mad that lives on an acreage. But the golf course, I just hate to have it happen where it's, you got a day where everybody's out there trying to enjoy themselves and recreation wise, and they have to smell that all day long.
Manure management, where are you gonna put all that?
Right there on that place, the parcel to the south, there's other ground within a mile and a half that it can all go on, and it's been submitted as part of the manure management plan.
I could be wrong, but that place to the south, I don't think you even have a signed contract for that.
I don't need
But here
it.
again, that's irrelevant to this conversation, so, if this thing goes through, he's gonna have to follow the matrix, so.
And state manure management plans.
It's, as you probably read in the paper about Worth County, it's a huge problem over there, real.
Yeah, I just think there's better places for it.
Now, that is relevant.
And if it was closer to, where your dad's gonna be moving to, or the old home farm there, that would also even put me more at risk as far as living in Buffalo Center. It would be closer to Buffalo Center, might go, but that wouldn't bother me as much as out at the golf course, I guess, 'cause it's.
I hear your concerns, but this is the only place that I am able to put it at this time.
Anybody else that lives out there want to make a comment on it?
I think it could be a big financial issue for the barn. People will not want to play there if it stinks.
What is the limit? How close can you build them damn things to where somebody's living?
What is it? It's just short of a half mile.
1875.
Is it 1875, that was?
So I live right north of the golf course, so I can put one up there if I wanna?
No.
Why
Well,
not? Why not?
1,875 feet.
25.
2,500 feet from a public use area.
25.
So a half a mile.
It would be that.
I'm over half a mile. So that's what you're saying? Then I can put one up?
If it's small enough, you can put it up right next to somebody. It's right across the road from their acreage.
Small enough, I can put it up in my home place, can I?
Yeah, well, you know, and when people put it on their home places, at least they've showed the willingness to suffer with it themselves while they're making the money. We had a discussion in here once about chicken manure being piled in the wrong places in June, and someone who hauled it and dumped it there, said that they live on places that have manure on them, and they're just fine, they don't have a problem. I said, yeah, but to you it smells like money, to them it smells like
What it is.
what it is, yeah. So it all depends on,
And I'll say this because I'm not sure if everybody knows the law on it. It's really irrelevant what we do as a board here. The final say is the DNR, and they can override us. And to be frank, anyone who follows the matrix is more than likely going to get approved. So,
the only recourse we really have at this time, unless the legislature changes the laws for the future, which this won't matter, is to, I guess, just, throw ourselves at the mercy of your good graces as far as, wanting to be a good neighbor.
And I do.
I mean, it's, your intention isn't to make everybody mad, I hope. But in fact, the fact is that there's probably gonna be some people that are gonna suffer smelling your manure. So, it's not like the old family farm anymore. I mean, these things are, you can't tell me it's not factory farming in a sense. It isn't the guy who had the farrow to finish with a bunch of hogs out in his pasture and stuff like that. It's these huge confinements there. But then they also created another market for corn and economic. I mean, I see the good and I smell the bad.
I guess I can't believe for not being in the business that you're gonna jump in that big.
And, when you went through it the first time, there was a lot of people that were really thought that you guys made a bit of a sacrifice to not do this. And then it came back out, and I had to tell them, I sent them an email out to everybody, golf course wise, to make sure and thank the Ennons, because they were well within their legal rights to build this year, as long as the matrix checked out okay. And I told them to make sure they thank you guys.
And I guess, can I correct you there? This is mine, not Ron's.
Well, okay, all right. They should have thanked you. Dad has no input.
This is my responsibility to handle.
I mean, when we met with the DNR, he was out there too. So
Yes.
But yeah, no, your name is on it, so it's you. It's you can do whatever you want, because we can't stop it. And, it's completely up to you guys, and these are the people. Dean Gersman isn't here today. He's one of them. I haven't spoke to Lucas Miller, who's going to be he's just barely outside the legal limit and to the northeast, which there's a lot of southwest breezes during the summer. And, I would want the value of that acreage just went down if this happens.
And I guess I just caution you to put words in other people's mouths.
The value of all acres around there.
What words did I put in anybody's mouth?
Whether or not he's concerned over it or whether it's issued. So,
I have not talked to him. I did state that. He may be just.
You're correct. I apologize, Bill.
and I don't want you not to be able to build something on your own property, but at the same time, you know, whether it's these or wind turbines, you know, can you build something on your property that affects somebody negatively on their property? You know, at what point do property rights, I can see both sides. I know where you guys are coming from. I have no personal vendetta. I'm just concerned about the people that live out there that have expressed their concerns to me, and the golf course. And if the golf course wasn't there, you know, I suppose it's, but, you know, and it is a mile and a half, and maybe it'll never be a problem, I don't know, but we won't know until it's there, and then if it is a problem, then you know, wish you did it different, and if it isn't a problem, then we'll all be happy. You run things through your head trying to figure out how you can make them smell less, you know, it's,
There are products out there now that have multiple benefits, one for smell and one for the value of the that would be something to look into.
yeah, there are enzymes or whatever it is they dump in the pits that, in theory, help encapsulate the nitrogen too. That's the nitrogen loss is what you smell in a sense. Nobody wants to lose their nitrogen. Anybody else have any comments?
Here's the time to make them. And we got 15 minutes, Bill, so before our next one. So. Well, I guess you're in. Don't want to cut anybody off. Entertain a motion to close.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing for Eden 21 site master matrix, for One Pig E LLC master matrix grant, section 8.
I'll second the motion.
Motion by Bill, seconded by Terry to close the public hearing for One Pig E LLC, grant section 8. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed. Motion carried. Yep.
We need to either approve or deny.
That's not on there, is it?
We have to today because it's required by, we have to get it back into DNR.
We'll use the emergency code in. All right. Entertain a motion to approve the master matrix for One Pig E LLC.
Well, I guess it's apparent that he has met the qualifications through the master matrix. I'll make a motion to approve it.
What, shoot. No, we can vote it down. Motion's on the floor, so I gotta entertain it. I'll second that. Questions? Will there be a economic burden if we don't approve this? Is there, it simply goes to the DNR. So, from my perspective, it's more of a, not a public relations, but a statement being made that the state needs to.
You want to pass the buck to the DNR?
No, I don't want to pass the buck. I think you know me well enough, I don't pass the buck. But,
By denying it, you're letting them know that you think.
yeah, we need to change the laws.
I agree.
And so what I'm saying is, is it gonna pose an economic burden to you for us not to pass it? I mean, you gotta go through a bunch of hoops. I'm not familiar with that process, so.
DNR has to review it and ultimately approve it or deny it.
Right.
Biggest thing here is time deadlines, whether I get my build window or not.
Yeah,
And I honestly can't answer that one way or the other.
I don't think that would have affected. Because I happen to think it should be left up to the county supervisors myself. And that's what I'm gonna be lobbying for, in the future. Because I think in certain situations, there are some places that should be denied. This one is not, to me, isn't one of those, but, so.
I think you guys should have more say in this whole
What's
thing.
that?
I think you guys should have more say in the whole thing.
Right.
Our county.
No, and people who live where they're gonna be built should have more say.
Well, they would through us if we had the power.
Yeah.
Okay, motion was made by Terry and seconded by myself to approve the master matrix for One Piggy LLC. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Aye. And I'm really not opposed to it, just so you know. It's gonna end up in the DNR's hands anyway. They're the approval, so. I know that sounds like a wishy-washy. Okay. Next one's at 10 o'clock. Eden site.
Do you have anybody have the clipboard?
So I'll give you just a second.
Take a motion for the fire transfers.
Everybody sign it?
Might get just a little break here on that last motion. Could you repeat what the motion was and then pass or fail?
It passed.
The motion was recommended to approve.
Motion was made by Terry, seconded by me, and the motion then failed.
It did, okay,
Yes.
that's, yep, thank you.
Two to one.
Very good.
I'm not necessarily against the meeting.
No, I know you're not.
And I'm not exactly for it.
No, yeah, because
One
they're,
of those-
but yeah,
There's only
I just
three
want
of
the
you, right?
technical details of the application, meeting the criteria.
I'll make a motion to approve the auditor's transfers.
I'll second it.
Motion by Bill, seconded by Terry to approve the auditor transfers. All in favor, say aye. Opposed?
This is open up. In my paperwork, it asks if you approved it or denied it.
Yep.
So can you give a motion to deny it?
So we need another motion.
I think so.
Oh,
For the
okay,
DNR.
well, you
Since
can't.
the motion failed, there's no action. Yeah, you're right.
So I need a motion
How's it gonna,
to deny.
what's the matrix? You pass?
It asks if it was approved or denied, and right now it's neither one.
That's no action.
Yeah.
Isn't it denied? It is denied?
I don't know, but I know that if I don't do it right, the DNR gets mad at me, so I
Okay.
just wanna make sure that.
Well, cover our bases and entertain a motion to deny it.
I'll make a motion to deny the master matrix for One PE LLC in Grand Section 8, Winnebago County.
I'll second that. Motion by Bill, seconded by Mike to deny the master matrix plan for One Big E LLC. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Is that opposed?
Yeah.
Okay. With that. Okay. Did we vote on the transfers?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
Let's just get the stamper ready.
6 minutes.
I had to learn how to run
It's gonna take some practice.
Open forum now then? Corey Anderson was running against the supervisors who are going to be attending the county fair fundraiser. April 7th, I think it is.
I won't be.
Right up. Pretty nice. Good day for travel. Yeah, some like
It's, yeah, April 7th.
Mm-hmm.
April 7th, what time?
This was what I heard, like 6 or something.
There should be one more page of this,
He just put that writing there to get.
One more page of,
one more page of my budget.
I handed 3 this way. You had 3, right?
Yeah, I only have 2.
you sort of random.
Yeah.
My, head first off, the free patrolman on the way out there. You know, the sunshine, we're feeling good. But it's that, you know,
The back over here, looking at
How would you just send it in here? Now I can tell you more.
what you probably heard when I was.
County budget. Yep. One sitting on the copier here.
Oh. It's my fault.
There you go.
Yeah. Did a copy?
What's that?
Did a copy? Oh, it's in.
Yeah, they were sitting right here.
Okay, open up the. That's the original.
That's just fine.
Any more in open forum?
I just want to stress one more time to make sure that we contact our legislators, Senator Guth and Representative Gassman, regarding the backfill for commercial and industrial rollbacks. And it's very important that we contact them because if we lose those rollbacks, all of our taxes are gonna go up.
How much did you say it was gonna be? 400 one?
It'll end up being over $400,000 that the county loses.
In the first year.
No, that's total.
Yeah,
So 400,000 is what we're getting right now for backfill.
cutting it 25% first
It
year.
was like a third.
Depends on which bill you're talking about.
Well,
There was one on each side.
okay.
I said 25%.
If they lower the state taxes enough to take care of it and allow us to not have to deal with all kinds of unfunded mandates, we would just be shifting them from one tax entity to another. It would be a little more palatable, but I'm guessing that ain't the way it'll work.
So once again, it's waited for the urban population,
Yeah, that's,
and I can't understand why our legislators
that's where the votes are at.
don't buck up against it.
That's where the votes are at. No matter whether you're talking about that or the way schools are funded, it's all, they'll get rural dollars in urban areas.
Are you Scott?
Yeah.
What's your last name?
Anderson.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
You can't read my calligraphy writing.
You know.
He lives way up north up there, yeah, on the border of Minnesota.
How far are you from this hill?
What, 3 or 4 miles? As the crow flies, I suppose.
So if it was just barely inside the legal limit of your place to the southwest, what would you say?
I currently have a site that is a half mile up the road for me on the Minnesota side. It's not an issue for me. I don't smell pigs.
You don't smell it?
I smell chickens worse from the southwest.
From the Rembrandt?
Yep.
Well, you get more southwest wind, but yeah, no,
Southeast,
this would
excuse me.
go towards the golf course then. How, is it straight north or?
It's across the road on the other side, so it'd be technically northeast of my place, but it's just across the road.
Yeah, I know what you said. Yeah.
So,
Okay,
I can't, that's my opinion.
entertain a motion to open up the public hearing for Eden 21.
Second. I'll second it.
Motion by Terry, seconded by Bill to open the public hearing for Eden 21 site master matrix. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Comments?
I'm Mitch Baum with Summit Farms, and we brought the Pinnacle Group, John here, up to explain the master matrix and entertain questions on the site, but wanted to introduce myself. We purchased this farm in the quarter section in Eden 21 and proposed to build the site in the southeast corner, maximizing distances to those residences in the area. Talked to the adjoining landowners, one resident to the acreage to the west I haven't talked to, stopped by there, but when I was in the area. But any questions, be happy to answer them. We'll go through the master matrix here if you guys don't mind, and then respond with anything from there.
Wonderful. You have the floor.
I'm John Everly. I'm with the Pinnacle Group. We're the consultant on this project. The only thing I'd add is if you have any questions, I'm here to address them if I can.
So we scored 450 points on the master matrix, which includes a closure plan. We exceed half-mile setbacks to the residences in the area. Distance to water, we exceed that 500 feet where when we wheeled it off with the DNR on the site, we were over 740 feet to water. So it's a pretty straightforward submission, I believe. Deep pit buildings, just under 5,000 head permitted capacity. We'll likely inventory less than that. Other questions anybody has?
Did you want the matrix explained a little bit, or were you good? I remember last time you.
Yeah, I guess when I was here before, you've got it scored already. I was just curious to be part of that when you were doing it, just to kind of go through it. But I don't know if you have.
Would you mind going through it?
Sure.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. Shall we just go item by item, or?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. On item number 1, which deals with distances to residence, hospital, nursing home, or licensed or registered child care facility, we scored it at 85 points by our measurement. We exceeded the minimum distance of 1,875 feet by 1,221 feet for a total of 85 points on that item. Number 2, which has to do with distance to the closest public use area, parks, cemeteries, etc. We scored the maximum there. We found none within 4,001 feet above the 2,500 foot minimum. On item number 3, which looks at separation distance to schools, churches, and businesses, we exceeded the minimum 1,875 feet by more than 1,501 feet, so we scored the maximum number of points on that item of 30. Number 4, distance to a water source, the minimum is 500 feet. As Mitch said, when it was wheeled off in real time, it was actually 700 some feet. So we could have taken points on that one. Our mapping showed it under that, but when you're actually on the ground measuring it out, that's there. Numbers, we didn't take points for number 5, which was distance to a thoroughfare. Number 6, closest critical public area, we found none within 3,000 feet. So we took 10 points on that item. We did not take points for double the distance to wells. The minimum is 100 feet. If we'd had the well in excess of 200 feet, we could have taken points on that. Item 8, separation distance from major water, basically rivers. We took the maximum number of points of that. The minimum is 1,000 feet. We found none within 3,501 feet. So we took 50 points for that item. Number 9, distance to CAFO that has a manure management plan. We found none within 3/4 of a mile. We took 25 points for item 9. Number 10, we found no high-quality waters, protected waters, or protected water areas within the 2,000 feet. There's a 1,000-foot minimum. The item actually addresses 2 times the minimum separation distance, so we found none within 2,000 feet. So we took 30 points for item number 10. Did not take for number 11. On number 12, 30 points because the manure storage will be covered. We'll have the swine finisher over it. The pump outs will be covered as well. We did not take for item 13, 14, or 15. We did not take points for number 16.
I will just stop you there, John, on here. Number 15 is calls for landscaping. At Summit, we do plant trees on all of our sites, so we will be planting trees on this site as well. We just didn't take the master matrix points for that, but that will be done, and they will be planted most likely in the spring of 19 to make sure they get a good stand and a good start, rather than planting in the fall after excavation is done.
Number 17, this, of course, as Mitch had mentioned, this would be pitted buildings. So we took credit for the foreign manure storage structure. It will be a poured concrete pit. 30 points for number 17. Did not take points for number 18. It will be a truck turnaround. So we took 20 points for number 19. Number 20, we have no history of administrative orders from the DNR in the last 5 years. So, points for that item. We did not take points for items 21, 22, or 23. Item 24 will have 499 head.
4,999.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Put the decimal in the right place. Which gives us under 2,000 animal units, so we took 20 points for item 24.
How many categories are there?
There are 3 categories.
Points, I think we're just up to 40.
You're going by
Speed up a little bit.
No, do you get the gist of?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I was gonna say there's really no need to go.
Yep, okay.
All right. Yeah, we take it item by item.
Yeah.
Go through, score it.
Yep.
Methodically, really. To come up with the points we come up with.
And you can get a copy of Matrix if you want.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think the big things that I just want to share is that, just because we didn't take points for the trees doesn't mean we aren't going to do that. The closure plan is something else that we didn't need to take points for. We do put that in case for an event it does go, is closed down or placed out of service, that the owners are obligated to, in this case, Summit at this point is obligated to close it down, pump it out, and do that right for the current standards of the county or state or federal requirement at that time. So pretty straightforward there, so I think that's enough. Any other questions on the matrix for us or the site?
Now, on that closure part of it, is that put into an escrow of some sort, or how do you, it's just you're mandated to do it?
Right, it's at that time, whatever the state rules and county, the way it's stated in the actual current plan, it's held in there, but no, there isn't any escrow dollars or things of that standpoint.
But it does become a condition of your permit.
Right.
If you put it in the matrix.
And if I farm near it and you just walk away from it, I'd gladly go pump it out.
Yeah. We may squat in it for a while too and feed a few pigs. We've been in this business, raising pigs a long time. This is our first site in Winnebago County. We do have sites in Hancock County, so if anybody would like to see what we do, how we do it, happy to talk about that at some point after this is closed. So.
And I know the DNR does enforce that closure thing, because I've see one facility northwest of here that they force them to get certain things out of there.
Right.
Any more comments?
Were you able to find enough land for the manure management plan?
Yep.
We were.
Yep. So worked with the adjoining neighbors on the farm, contacted every adjoining except the one directly to the north. I had enough acres by the time I talked to Eastfold to the east, or excuse me, Eastfold to the west, Simon to the south, and Dean, I think into the north, west. So there's acres available there, and frankly, quite a few more in the plan than what's required, so.
I've heard no negative comments, and that's my district, so. Close it?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing for Eden 21 site.
Second that. Motion by Terry, second by myself to close the public hearing for Eden 21 site. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
I'll make a motion to approve the master matrix for Eden 2021.
I will second that. Motion by Terry, second by myself to approve the master matrix for site 21 in Eden Township. All in favor, say aye. Oh, any discussion? I am going to vote for this one simply because there is no opposition to it. So,
And there's no golf course.
yeah. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank
If
you.
there are any
guys.
questions that come up after this meeting, my cell number's on the sheet that we sent earlier, so thank you.
Thank you.
All right, consider approval early retirement for Dennis Queen.
He's looking at me, but he's not seeing me. Who's that?
You guys ready?
You're up. Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay, just to introduce the item here, Denny submitted an early retirement application, fitting the policy, which would be retiring by May 30th, 2018. However, he would like to discuss some options with you prior to making action on that agreement. We discussed dates outside of the policy, such as retiring in January of next year. However, did not fit the policy, so it hasn't come to you for approval or denial. So at this time, Denny would just like to talk to the board.
You're up.
Okay. What's the chances of you offering this a year from now?
It'll still be on the table, correct?
No.
There was a deadline.
No, we can always bring it up again, but this policy is done. It's done already. So
And he did make the deadline.
he made the deadline, but this policy is done, now.
Yeah, the policy says the incentive is only for the 2017-18 fiscal year, and of course those two dates about when you must apply, when you release.
No, it's just a
It's more
one-time,
whether this year's budget's gonna reflect
Yeah.
wanting to do more.
right.
Yeah, that was exactly
It
what I was
depends
gonna
on
say.
next
is
year's budget and
that
financial
If we
situation.
decide that we need to
To do it again.
do it again,
Well, in my opinion, it's an advantage for the county, to us, to do it, so.
yeah.
I don't know why we would.
If it is now, it would be even when the budget wasn't a problem, because in theory, we're still gonna save some money.
The problem with allowing someone to go outside the
Well-
thing that's in place is that there were other people who maybe would have done it if they could retire at January 30th or January 1st, but
Well, then
we
they can,
didn't.
Well,
then they'll be able to.
I guess-
Well, but the deadline's
No.
designated.
No, I know it, I know. They just have to take the risk whether we're gonna offer it again next year.
Yeah, this is over at this
That,
point.
that one,
And-
there's,
So the policy's irrelevant.
that one.
There is no more policy.
Right, I mean, this says
So
you
we can't-
retire at May 30th, or no, so you
Might
have to
not- Yeah, I would
decide.
say the policy is relevant, and the fact that now that you've done it once, it seems more likely that it would be proposed again
The last time
in
we
whatever
did this-
form that it.
The last time we did this was 10 years ago, so,
And it was because of budget.
because it was because of budget. So it's not like this might be an every year thing, I doubt it.
Pending in legislation from the black
Who
and
knows?
back bill, it's gonna be pressure on us next year too.
Yeah.
And maybe it will, I don't know at this point.
And
I can't imagine that if it's in the county's favor, that we would not allow somebody to retire early. And in this situation, it would be in the county's favor. We would be able to hire someone cheaper, if we need to hire anybody at all.
we probably have to hire two to replace you, don't we?
Careful.
Depends on who you talk to.
I got the rise out of it. So, I guess, and of course it could be a different board too, but I just can't imagine that a board would deny you early retirement when it can save the county some money.
It's more, we would have to bring it up for.
We would have to have a new policy next year.
Right.
And in that regard, maybe we should have an existing continuing policy. We'll work on one.
It doesn't mean that we can't, before the end of this year, address it. That's planning. for the
Yeah,
Budget.
yeah.
Now, if we had a continuing policy, then we just have to vote to okay people as it comes up with the same policy, or if we just do it every year, it's kind of the same thing, we'll vote to do it every year. But yeah,
I don't care who it is in the county, I can't imagine that we would bar somebody from early retirement. And we could put this in the policy clause if it's gonna save the county some money. I just, that would defy all logic to me, so.
I guess in my mind, I would say it's highly available next year.
Well, so Dennis can plan.
Let it ride this year and
If we decided not to, were you gonna take the retirement now?
You don't have to say.
Okay.
I think we should take care of it right now, I think it's something that we should look hard at, just implementing a policy so that future employees can look at it and say, here's,
I guess.
and it should be on an individual basis. And I think the only criteria is if the county can save money, then by all means do it. In my opinion, that's the only criteria that should be used, unless there's some catastrophe in the employee's life,
well, this came up kind of sudden like.
Yeah, and that was gonna be my point.
Yeah, and it's a tough decision to make.
Yeah.
I just,
So what would be wrong with next week, we discuss this again, have it on the agenda to talk about early retirement for the next year?
As a policy going forward.
Well, just for the next year, unless you want to do it going forward, but then people can plan on whether they want to early retire.
Take it on a case-by-case basis as it comes up.
Right. There may be departments where they not do financial for the county, but we would have to look at it.
So we wanna table it till next week?
Well, right now it's his early retirement. I'd be willing to put it on the agenda for a broad, I don't think it's fair that we would give him a separate policy from everybody else that was offered.
Sure.
I think.
If it saves the county money, why not?
Because-
We're not giving
Because the
him.
deadline's over, and there might have been people, other people who
Well,
applied for it.
then let them apply for it. And if it's gonna save us money, I'll give it to them.
Well, that's why I think we should just make a policy next week that's on the agenda to allow them to come forward too for a later date.
A policy is, I think, in my opinion, is meant for fairness.
Yeah.
And if Chris wants to retire, I'll use her, come in, I'll approve it. I mean,
Other than she's elected.
Well,
I know.
we all know she's much too young for that anyway.
No, thank you.
To me, that's not a concern, just.
There should be a deadline on something that could save the county money, in a sense.
Yeah.
So I think it's bigger than just this issue. I would like to talk about it next week.
Yeah.
Just then we can come back and, submit it again under that policy.
Sure.
So I think we all agree that it probably needs to be changed.
So you're wanting to wait a year the way. So,
Yes, correct.
But what we would offer would accommodate that.
yeah,
Yes,
so you could come back to us in a year and make the offer again.
yes.
So if you make a new policy, is there gonna be certain criteria for that then as well?
Number one criteria for me, it's gotta save the county money. If it
Well,
doesn't-
obviously, if they're gonna retire, it'll save us money, but I mean, is there gonna be any criteria like there is now, like for years of service
Yeah, I
and
would think
that kind of thing?
everything would read the same, it just would be a continuing policy.
Just open the window a little more.
That would offer a year of insurance for anybody.
No till next week, I guess.
If that's your sentiment, I would suggest either acting on his current application or allowing you to withdraw it and see what the conversation turns into, but I think we should at least address his current application that he's
Well,
made.
don't you wanna put that on hold,
Yeah,
that current application?
yeah, you
Till next
can,
week?
if that's okay.
So
For
lack
me,
of
it is.
action,
You want to possibly act on it next week?
we can table it.
I mean,
Okay.
If the policy doesn't, if
So,
what
you
we
know,
come
the-
up with,
the
that Dennis doesn't like, he'll want that one, and I'll still honor that one. So,
so you want to table this agreement while you shake out
Yeah.
new criteria for the following year?
I think that'd be most fair to Dennis. It comes down, fairness, I think he's been a great employee, so. Okay, we'll table it to next week.
Have you got everything you want to say, Hal?
I think so.
Okay.
Because I'm doing twice as much work, I only got to put in 20 hours on during the week.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
All right,
Yep.
Is that it then?
That is it.
Stand adjourned.
Open forum?
Stand adjourned.
Well, you wanna go back to open forum?
If I could,
All right.
Yeah.
questions on how secondary or minimum maintenance roads are handled. How are they assigned? How are they changed? What is that process?
We have not changed. When a big facility goes up, this has actually come up 2 times since I've been aboard. We will work with the farmer, correct me if I'm wrong on this, on the loading of pigs. Otherwise, we are not going to change our schedules for maintaining that road. So,
It's a pretty decent quality road to begin
I'll
with.
give you a little,
yeah, it's just, it's
Is
not level B.
is the road that you're on?
It is.
It is level B?
It is.
Okay, so our policy has, and I would say the majority of our level B roads went from level A to level B in the last 10 years, and we eliminated a route and a maintainer, and so those roads receive a little bit less maintenance. They are kept up pretty good in comparison to dirt roads or level Bs in other parts of the state, I think. We have not changed them from level B to level A just because of the presence of a hog building. And so there are hog building operators out there that are moving their own snow to get to their buildings.
And there's no objection from the county for doing so.
That's right. Yep.
county's willing to accept that liability.
The roads are posted level B. Enter,
I'm not
Yeah.
saying that there would be, but I'm just trying to understand.
enter at your own risk, so I think those release the county of liability.
And really not the, I guess what I'm commenting on is not the liability for pigs being loaded or unloaded or feed delivery. It's liability of some kid flying around on a Saturday night, I or some other operator push snow improperly where you got an ice brick wall that was left there that somebody hits. I mean, it is a liability concern for people to be concerned about.
Our operators even do that. I've seen that they'll drive into level B and turn around, so I mean,
Yeah.
that's,
Roads are-
enter at your own risk, so, yeah, that's.
Does that answer the question?
That answers my questions. Thank you.
And if you want a more precise, visit the attorney, third floor.
When she starts.
She's here.
I thought our first day wasn't here until the 19th.
She just came for the meeting.
All right, okay.
If you want a more thorough opinion, send me a message and I can get that information.
Great, just finding information.
And it?
Yep.
Adjourned.